Thank you for returning. And today I'll read a little bit more from chapter 3. And as a lead in, I can tell you that I took a break from all of the doctors and the specialists and the physiotherapists. I needed to get away for a couple of weeks just to get away from it all. And I was on a break and I was in Adelaide. So while on this trip, I was surprised to receive a message to make urgent contact with my state manager back in Victoria. I telephoned him from a phone box at Point Turton, and the conversation went something like this. He said, "John, there have been some changes made in the company, and under the new structure there is no position for John Marr." My mind started racing as I struggled to comprehend what he was saying, replying, "I beg your pardon, John, what are you talking about?" He repeated robotically, "There have been some changes made in the company, and under the new structure, there is no position for John Marr." Then he hung the phone up in my ear. I walked back to Barry, who was waiting in the car. I told Barry I had just been sacked. I was completely shattered. I couldn't believe that after all these years of service and loyalty, they could do something like that to my family and me, and over the phone of all things, and now of all times. We gathered up some more coins between us so I could make my shocking phone call. I had to tell Ange what had just happened. We cried over the phone, realising the enormity of the situation and what it meant for our future. Things were going from bad to worse, and I was not coping well with all the blows. Thank heavens my mate Barry was there to support me when I was far from home. He was a rock. When I returned home, there were more tears. Every time I looked at Anne, she would burst into tears. We both knew what this meant for our family. No job security, no income, and we were in real financial trouble. Only 2 weeks before the phone call from the state manager that ended my job, 2 of the specialists in Melbourne had told me I would never work again. I had said to them, "Rubbish. I don't believe you." The possibility that my career was over was the farthest thing from my mind. The state manager who made the phone call to tell me I no longer had a job was a great guy and someone I had greatly respected. We worked together for 16 years and had an excellent relationship. I ran into him in Melbourne about 18 months after that dreadful phone call. He was on the other side of the road, so I crossed over to meet him. When he saw me coming, he put his hand to his forehead and said, "John, I hoped I'd never run into you again after what I did to you." I invited him for a coffee and he accepted. We sat and had a coffee, and I asked him, "Why did you hang up on me after you told me?" "Because I was crying," was his reply. I do not doubt that for a second. It would have been difficult for him to make that telephone call because he and the company respected me and had big plans for my working future. But my car crash changed all of that and brought my working life to a screaming halt. My short-term memory problems alone meant I could not provide financial advice or train people to give such advice again. It was the decision they had to make. A car crash is not just a car crash. Thank you again for joining me today, and I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow and reading a little bit more of Carmen's legacy.